Yeah.
Hello, everyone. I think. I don't know. We're doing a mass blast. Probably should reword that. Mass blast test today. This is our Absolute Comics podcast. The true show will start in about 15 minutes or so. This is the pre-show. Normally we have an image we put up here. Dan was lazy and didn't get one.
I gave it to you.
That's the thumbnail, not the pre-image. Guys, today we got Sal from ComicPOP, Dan from Comic Historian, and Jem from Gem Mint Collectibles.
What's going on, man?
We are attempting a multi-blast stream. This is going to be the thing I call it now.
I see it. We got some Facebook blast going on.
Yeah, see? You got it. Jem's in on it. The slogan is catching on. We are blasting 3 locations today. See how this works. So pre-show, you guys can ask whatever questions you want. If a question is very solid during the main show, I'll pull it up onto the chat just like this. Yo!
Hey.
Or sad about the Guardians.
Yeah.
We'll put up all those right there for you guys to check out. But pre-show, we'll answer any questions you want.
Do you put up the topics prior?
Not for them to see.
Oh, not for them.
Guardians is in the title.
That's why I was like, wait, this guy is like, he knows.
Title
the whole,
says Wonder Woman and Guardians canceled.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'll save my thoughts for the actual show on that.
That's a bad habit, Salad, I have sometimes, where we'll go into an entire topic and then we'll get 10 minutes into it and be like, crap, were we recording?
True. I see the people from Twitch in the chat. What's going on, Twitch?
What do we think about Infinite Frontier? I think it's the only complaint I have with it is I can't tell if it's a miniseries or an event. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or a bridge, more.
Yeah.
Right. Now I feel like with Sal, I feel like he has the DC lore down. I don't know about Benny or Dan, but for me, like I've read the Crisis events, but I don't retain every little thing. So like so many of these characters and like these plot points, I'm completely lost with Infinite Frontier. Like I get the multiverse thing and that's cool and the Dark Side Prime stuff, but you know,
with these characters. No, I mean like I'm not you know, I know who they are. I'm not necessarily familiar with like what they were last in, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm like, hey, it's Director Bones. I know you from like 2 things.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was a character before this. I thought that was like Infinite Frontier was his thing.
Yeah,
I've looked up most of the characters that I was unaware of or I didn't know a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But like Director Bones, I'm like, that's the new guy. They made that guy.
No, Mr. Bones. He used to be Mr. Bones, but now he's Director Bones. He's moved up in the world.
What do I think about the direction of the Superman books? I think it's the natural progression. Like everyone wants to have young superheroes, like the kid of Spider-Man, the kid of Superman, the kid of Batman. Unless you're forever going to put them at a frozen moment in time, like Damian Wayne, they do need to eventually age and take over the role. So I actually really like what they're doing right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's been 80 years or something. Like you got to change it up. And the Superman books this week from DC, that's it, man. This is like the end going into this new Jonathan Kent era.
Well, issue 2 of the Jonathan Kent, 3 dropped today, but issue 2 had Superman basically saying goodbye to Jonathan in the book. Like, hey, I don't want to miss more of your life, but plot dictates that I have to go.
But Future State is not a thing we're ignoring anymore.
So that happens in Action this week and Superman. So it's kind of like they're both a goodbye of Superman because I guess those are the 2 titles that he's in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they actually name drop another Superman book that I was surprised to see it even tied in because I thought they were kind of separated by time or something with Superman and the Authority.
Oh yeah,
I thought that was in continuity.
Yeah, I thought it was definitely not. They connected it here. I was like, oh, what? But Superman looks older, and Superman and the Authority. He's got like the gray streaks, the Reed Richards, and all that.
I thought it was like an alternate timeline kind of thing.
Yeah.
They were going to do it like they used to do, like things like Killing Joke. Like, oh, it was popular, then it's continuity. Oh, it's not popular, like, and which is very confusing because we have things like Black Label, where that is where you should put the entire. Like a great example, Batman the Detective, not Detective Comics, but the Detective.
Right.
We can't figure out if that's in continuity or not because it's not Black Label, but it doesn't make any goddamn sense.
No. But it's in the future, if anything, right? So it's always kind of like that could be a future, if you know,
right?
So
yeah, but he looks old, so I'm
thinking... I like that book though. That detective book is good.
Yeah, it's really good. Tom Taylor's killing it on that in the Superman book.
He's doing a lot, man.
As long as he doesn't kill people, I'm fine. As long as he doesn't kill people, they give him too much carte blanche to kill people.
I mean,
kind
the
of
whole
his
thing
thing.
with Batman the Detective is people dying.
Yeah.
He opened up that Marvel Dark Ages, murdering like half the characters you care about. Like
That was dope. That was a fun book. That's also delayed. We're waiting for that friggin' book to come out.
That one surprised me. Like I didn't know what to expect with that, and I kept reading Dark Agnes when I looked at the title, and I was like, maybe I had Agatha on the brain or something. And then I was like, oh, Dark Ages. Okay, no, it was really great. I think when that came out, that was like my pick of the week that week.
Yeah, it's definitely a good one.
Yeah, it's a good Marvel deceased kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Any comments here? We already know that DC is just building up these stories to tear them down when the crisis sweeps incoming.
Oh my god. Do we need another crisis at this point? Like we just had Death Metal, which like put everything back.
Yeah.
We don't
But
even
kind of
want crisis.
didn't. It is, but it isn't at the same time.
Well, it's
I do
classic.
feel like it was a terrible time for a crisis because normally the exciting part about a crisis, Gems, that obviously you're not like as perused on. The exciting part is that it ends and then the new slew
Right. So
of books come. Yeah,
Yeah.
but the amount of books is what's exciting because it's like, oh, new Batman stuff, every week feels dry. Like
Yeah.
there's just no books coming out right now.
Well, it seems like they wanted to, right? Like they had Future State, they had 5G, which kind of morphed into Future State, I guess. And those titles had 3 stories in each for $8 or whatever.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, it seems like they had a plan that they had to deviate from, and
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that was all about.
Well, that's just there's a great Polygon article that just came out where they were like just kind of confirming what everyone kind of suspected about the New 52, which was that like there was no plan whatsoever and they were just kind of winging it. And
I thought that was confirmed a while ago, though. I
it
thought
was
they, like, straight
confirmed
up
in
said it.
well, only confirmed in as much as you and I talked to comic book pros who have said behind closed doors, yes, they did not have any plan.
That's true. Maybe that was where I got.
Well, I think for me that was kind of obvious when like they didn't have 52 titles anymore and stuff was ending and stuff was not lasting 52 issues. Like they had a cool like idea, but I guess for probably financial reasons they couldn't really do it with every title and everything.
No.
But
Yeah.
Well, also
it kicked off. It was supposed to have like that alien invasion with Grifter, Wildcats, all those guys.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, those aren't selling. Shuffle that away. That doesn't happen.
But then they try to bring it back now with the whole Grifter and Wildcat stuff.
Yeah. Plus, we got there was the indication of Pandora is going to be a really big deal, and then it was like Jeff Johns went, no, she's not. Throw all of that away. And
I was excited about her because the mystery they were building around her, Pandora, Phantom Stranger, there was one other one that was in that Trinity. They were called the Trinity of like the early days of time. And I'm like, this is cool. We're kind of getting origins to the DC universe and we're going into it. And they're like, no, you're not. It's the crime syndicate.
No, you're not, because we don't know. Because that's the thing about DC is like we don't plan.
So what was the biggest thing with Death Metal? Like the Wonder Woman sacrifice and then she was gone, but now it's like that's already going to be reverting back, I think, with her next issue.
Yeah, she went through Valhalla and all that stuff and it's over. So we're going back.
But it gave her one arc, which started off really strong, but then it kind of got weird to me. And then I was like, and the ending was okay. But now she's...
And then it was just her banging Thor for like 3 issues.
Siegfried.
yeah. Oh, sorry, Siegfried. Thor she never got with.
No. Thor was a jerk, but then they kind of explained that too.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I thought the story was great. I really did actually. But I just found it funny. Like this is what she does. She's in Valhalla, murdering and banging, and that's it.
Having a good time, man.
Yeah, she was.
Oh man.
Please cover more of a request than a question. Cover more iconic X-Men stories. I'm working on it. You try keeping up. Okay. I'm gonna go to mini rant that doesn't belong in the main podcast, but since this is live, it goes in here. I just read because I'm playing catch up today in my comics, right? And I just read Onslaught Revelation.
Ah, yes.
What the hell's even going on? I
Well,
felt like
gotta
I was
read
on
Way
an
of X.
acid trip.
Did you read Way of X?
You got to read Way of X.
I did not read Way of X. It wasn't on my list.
Well, it was in well, then you wouldn't know what the hell's going on.
So I'm like, oh, Onslaught's coming. Everyone's talking about Onslaught. It's probably lead into Inferno and other things. Let me read this. And I felt like I was on an acid trip for 35 pages. Just everything's going everywhere, and people are dying and not dying, and Magneto and Professor X are running, and everyone turns into Onslaught, and I'm like, what the hell is happening?
See, I really liked it because it's really an epilogue for Way of X. It's Way of X issue 6 that's kind of leading into a new book that's going to come out. Nothing to do with Inferno. But yeah, my partner that I do a top 10 video with, Robbie, he was saying the same thing. He's like, if a newcomer comes along and sees Onslaught 1, oh, hey, I like Onslaught from the 90s. Hey, let's read this. You're not going to know what's going on and be totally lost. And that's
exactly what happened. I've been reading main X-Men, X-Force, X-Factor. Like I read a bunch of them. Way of X wasn't on my radar. So I just thought this was the prelude to Onslaught.
Yep.
Like, oh, cool. I better read
it's the ending.
Yeah. And I have no idea what's going on. Like, Nightcrawler's like, this is my religion, and I'm a cop now. And I'm like, oh, God. And everyone's flipping around, and we got all this abstract art happening.
Way of X is 5 issues. I think you should read it. I liked it a lot. I liked the Onslaught Revelations because of,
But now I know how it ends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
But I think what's more interesting is Nightcrawler's feelings toward the Resurrection Protocol. And I was talking about is like, I think everyone feels like we got to get rid of the Resurrection Protocol. It's not like fun. Like anybody can be brought back anytime. It was already bad enough that anyone in comics could be reborn, but it's not as easy as it was now. And I think it's even in that Onslaught issue, like if death is cheap, then so is life, or something like that. And it's like, yeah, I mean, we got to get rid of that. And then the Way of X explains like the religious aspects of it and your soul aspects. So I think it's still worth it, even though you kind of know the ending.
I mean, I'll check it out because I do like the idea that they were making their own religion and stuff like that.
Right.
The problem I have with X-Men is, as much as I love X-Men and I love what they are doing, is there's just so much and I don't know what's important. Like, there's no linear path to read X-Men right now. It's literally just all over the place.
I've dropped a lot of titles. I think I'm only reading X-Men, X-Force, Wolverine, and I was reading Way of X.
Well, I'm reading Wolverine too, but I don't count that as like an X-Men book because, I mean, it's Wolverine. He's off doing his own thing half the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this though, I mean, they kind of I don't like the ongoing Wolverine because I feel like it's hindered by everything that's going on in the Reign of X and Dawn of X stuff. It's in Ten of Swords and it's in this and that, and it's like, what happened to the Omega Red vampire thing? Like, I got to see if they go back to that this week or not.
I feel like Jonathan Hickman had a great plan. Everybody came in, kind of messed with his plan, and he was okay with it. But I feel like even he feels like it's gotten out of control. Because everyone's freaking out, like, oh, Hickman didn't leave Marvel. Oh, look at the proof. Have you read what Hickman has moved to?
Yeah.
What? No.
You've read Marvel. He moved to Marvel Infinity, which is Marvel's webtoons attempt, like to fight webtoons. And Hickman is writing one linear X-Men book.
Okay. So it's like, let me do what I wanted to do, guys.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I feel like he's doing. Like, he finally was just like, look, I'm just going to do this webtoon style X-Men story. We got a little out of control. You guys fix it. I saw an image. What's her name? One of the Twitter people. She tweets a lot, but she put an image of the last X-Men like roundup, and it was like 13 people at the X-Men roundup.
Yeah. The Zoom meetings, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the overall consensus. I don't know if that's been proven or not by Hickman, but I think that's what everyone's theory is, what happened with his vision on X-Men.
Well, he said that he came out and said that it just got out of like beyond what he wanted, but he likes what they're doing, so he's just giving it to them. I think it's a combo of the Substack money and then Hickman and then them going, do you want to just write this webtoons thing?
Well, it's almost like he created this thing that kind of took on a life of its own. And then you have all these other creators doing their own thing. And he's kind of like, well, hey, I don't really even need to be here anymore. It's kind of doing its own thing now, which is cool.
Yeah.
And like, think about it. Like before, right now, we had just the Uncanny X-Men title. And there was no X-Men for a while. And now it's like, now we got more mutants than we could even deal with.
It's, I'm getting questions if the webtoon stuff is in continuity. I don't know. I don't think it is because I don't think it's going to get printed anywhere else.
Well, I like your theory. If it's popular.
Oh, yeah. It'll suddenly get popped in. Like, they came out with a Venom versus Carnage book.
Yeah.
Like, that's on that webtoons app that they have, the Infinity app.
Okay.
Neither of those characters are properly alive right now.
Watch them make it its own universe. It'll be the Marvel Unlimited universe.
Yeah.
And it'll just be everything online.
But you know what? I'm going to add that to the topic list here. I'm just going to explain what I've discovered with this. We can talk about that. Let's just go into that. Because Webtoons is like taking off. There's another competitor I just got an email from, Bibbly Comics or whatever.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's very confusing because they also are the Chinese Facebook and they also make app games. I play one of them, Cafe Gun Girl. You have girls that run a cafe and then you send them on missions.
That's fun.
This is how I keep busy when I'm traveling, Jim. I just play app games.
When you're traveling, please.
Traveling from here to upstairs and back.
There it
Yeah.
is.
The house is that big, man. The house is that big. All right, let me get my audio going. I don't even think about that because I was getting all these locations up. There you go. You get someone excited for
I was looking. We were looking at the same thing at the same time. Appreciate the love, CJ. I don't know. Tevyas, what's he saying? I don't think Hickman got the other creators to mess with his plan. I think it was just kind of Marvel got into it as well, and it just became bigger than him.
I do think his original plan's all over the place. It's not that it's a bad direction. I mean, it got me back into full-time X-Men, but it's definitely not what he was intending.
Hoxpox was great too, but it's like, are we ever going to get that? Like, what happens? What happens with the Nimrod stuff and the Orcus Forge and all that?
He
like,
set up so many things that aren't going. Like, they set everything up, and they're like, and now let's have a gala. Like, what?
Yeah.
We made all
Again,
this different timeline. We're going
I'm
this
in the
way.
minority where I didn't mind the gala. I thought that's a cool little way to break up what's happening, and kind of do something. It's kind of like, I don't know, a little real world inspired at the same time. But I don't know what Inferno is going to be like. I'm about to read that after this, and he's writing it, so hopefully it's going to tie into the,
Wait, did that
the
come
end
out?
of his vision.
It comes out tomorrow.
Well, tomorrow, yeah.
Oh, okay. You said that. I'm like, wait, did I miss that now?
No. It comes
Oh,
out,
Aliens has a new arc. I want to do that one.
Alien is great.
Yeah.
I loved Alien. So the new arc too. You don't necessarily have to have read the first arc. I don't know if you read that or not.
I read the first issue, and I was going to wait for the arc to wrap up and then read the whole thing as a whole, because I'm getting really tired of some of my favorite franchises getting a book and then I ride it to the end, and it's like, well, that went to shit, and everyone agreed. I could have just waited.
I think you still got to read it because there's something that happens in the first arc that seems like it's going to be an overarching thing.
Yeah, I'm going to go back through and read it from the beginning. So
Yeah, I like it a lot.
all right, and everybody got their audios going.
Let me.
No, I do not. Hold on.
Okay, yeah, so I'm checking first.
Wow, good
I
thing you
will
said that. Here's
Hop
here we
on
go.
out to the waiting room.
No, you got to sit there and awkwardly look. Just sip tea.
I mean, that's what I'm going to do.
Fine, get
Okay.
out of here.
Dan will be with us in spirit. I'm good. I'm recording.
Do we have anybody still over on the Facebook side? I don't even know how that works. We're testing this for the first time. Facebookers.
I haven't seen any Facebook comments in a while,
Yeah.
but
I've seen 5 total. I don't even says that we're live. Like, is there a source for the live?
okay.
I'm trying to learn more about Facebook, because I agreed to make gaming videos for Facebook,
Mm.
and I realized today when I was trying to set it up, I don't know how it works.
So if you mouse over the number of live viewers in the top left, it'll say that we've got 5 people on Facebook, 88
cool.
on Twitch, and 207 on YouTube.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
I can't see that.
I can't either. So thank you, Dan. Oh, upper left-hand corner. You highlight over the eyeball.
Oh, there goes the Facebook guy.
The Facebook guy. New comment. Thank you, Richard.
Thanks for letting us know you're live.
I know who that is. All right. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Absolute Comics. My name is Benny. That is Sal. And joining us today is a very special guest, Gem Mint Collectibles. Now, your full name. Gem is the first name. Mint is the middle. Collectibles is your official last name.
That's
we
true.
will change it.
That's Mr. Collectible to you. And thank you for having me once again. What's going on, everybody watching? Happy to be here.
For those who are joining us for the first time, as we're doing a giant multi-stream blast, that sounds more appropriate than just saying we're blasting it out there. We are currently streaming live to Facebook, Twitch, and to YouTube. And if you enjoy this show, please go to your appropriate platform and give us an upvote or a like or a comment or whatever your platform does would be great. And this video also gets uploaded to our podcast channel, Absolute Comics, a week after it goes live. So if you're not watching it live, you can see it real soon in a week. But either way, today we are going to be going through a couple of news topics, talking about a couple comic books that came out, and I hope you will join us for the ride. Our guest, Gem, his channel does all kinds of collectible unboxings and discussions, and if you're looking to get into the investor market for comic books and do it properly, check out his channel. And since we are blasting this to so many locations, if you didn't know who Sal is, he does Comic Pop, comic book discussions with his friends who don't know anything about comic books. Somehow that remains true 5 years later. I don't.
They don't normally read them. They don't read them recreationally. They only read what I tell them to, or what they find interesting from the conversations that arise. So
It's like a comic book dictatorship going on over there, man.
that's right. Yep, I'm an authoritative. I'm authoritative. I have a complete monopoly on the reading.
You'll read what I tell you to read.
That's right.
No, but I'm sure they're good picks.
So what is, since I know we were talking before this, and I don't think any of us have super caught up on everything, let's just go with what your guys' picks for this week are. What is your picks, Jem? Because you had like a stack last time, and I've seen it to your left there.
Yeah, so I still got a stack. So I'm actually not done reading this week. I got the DC books physically. I just got done reading the Image books. Batman Reptilian. If you're reading Batman Reptilian and you want to know who this reptilian monster is, who's like killing the rogues gallery, you're gonna find out in this issue, and it's crazy. I don't know if I liked it or not. It was just like, I'm totally stunned by what happened in there. Spawn came out this week, man. Spawn, what is it, 322 or something? Spawn has been kicking it up a notch. I mean, a lot of people jumped on with issue 300, but I felt like there was a little bit of a lull. They're going full cylinders here, wrapping up the little arc that they had in the last issue, not necessarily tying in with King Spawn, but amazing artwork, awesome big storytelling. I like heaven and hell, demons and angels, and that's the kind of stuff you're getting in Spawn. And goodbye, Clark Kent, this week, man. 2 issues. One from Action, one from Superman, Son of Kal-El, saying goodbye to Clark. We know where he goes. We've read that story in Future State, but this is the ending of it, which I have some thoughts on it. I don't know if this is the platform because it gets a little bit spoilery. So maybe if you do come by my channel on Fridays or Saturdays, we do like a top 10 video, and maybe we could talk about my problems with Clark Kent's departure.
I mean, the problem I have with the Clark Kent departure, and I don't know if this is too much a spoiler because it came out 6 months ago, and I was having this discussion with Sal. A lot of the stuff that's happening in Infinite Frontier already happened. We know where it's going. They spoiled the whole line for us with Future State, which is so weird.
So let me just say this. How is Lois Lane cool with him leaving? My wife would be either like, I'm going with you, or there's no way you're going. Like, no.
I'm going to New York next week, and my wife's not happy I'm leaving. So I don't know what she would think about me going to like War World and stuff. So
and, like, potentially never coming back. And your son, who's been to the future, knows, hey, your history stops here. Like, you're not in history books anymore after this point in time. So you probably die.
But I mean, from a reader standpoint, though, I find it so hard to get excited for things I know are apparently going to happen. Like, where's the excitement and the mystery?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I don't really mind that, to be honest. I'm kind of cool with, like, this is how the story happened. Like, we know how it ends, and we know where we started. So I don't really mind that as much. I get that kind of criticism, though. But I'm just not buying that Lois Lane. Like, they don't really even address it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not really feeling that.
Well, that was the whole thing with the Bendis arc, where it's like, you know what? I don't want to be married anymore, and I'm just going to hang out in the city. What?
I'll tell you what I wasn't really too impressed with was that Deathstroke Inc. I know a lot of people are looking forward to it. I thought it was boring. Department of Truth has always been great. I don't know if you guys are reading that.
I got to play catch up. I'm way behind in a lot of my independent books because I'm just now catching up on my Marvel and DC. So
what is there anything else? Crossover came back. The Donny Cates book that had a little bit of a hiatus. Yeah. So that's pretty much it so far. Oh, and I guess, I did read the Amazing Spider-Man, the end of the Nick Spencer run, 85 pages, wrapping up. No. It was good. I like it.
Okay, all right.
Retconning, I tell you, he's doing his presidential pardons on the way out. Hey, I'm going to fix a couple of those things you didn't like about Spider-Man since you guys hated me during this whole run. You're welcome. And I'm looking forward to this next arc, man, this Ben Reilly return.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for Spider-Man Beyond. What do you think, Sal? What do you got for this week?
It's exciting. Those are all pretty much the books that are coming out. So I'm pretty hyped for all of it. It's gonna be pretty cool.
You reading anything right now you want to talk about before we go to the topics?
Not really.
All right.
I was reading back issues still, man.
Yeah. I mean, for the most part, for me, I've been playing catch up on a whole bunch of stuff. I just wrapped up getting caught up on Robin. 6 was great. The only issue I have with it is after the where we ended on 5 was such like a hype moment to then get into the fights and not go anywhere with it. I liked seeing the fights. I liked seeing what's going on. I liked the back and forth between Robin and Flatline. But we're starting up the next arc, which made it feel kind of flat because it was on such a, I don't know. We went from fight everyone to Ra's al Ghul to the Bat family to, all right, so we're having snacks and here's Damien's manga. Like,
what's with the manga thing? I like, what's the significance of that? Keep coming back, right?
I guess just to show that he's not as like a hard ass as he comes across. Like there is a side to him that is a kid that enjoys things.
It's kind of like with all the comic book versus manga stuff going on, you would think that they wouldn't be, hey, read manga, kids. It's like in my comic book, but
well, most of these creators are actually like pretty big manga fans. I know that was it Zdarsky has his own podcast about being exposed to manga. I know Williamson likes manga, so that probably has a lot to do with it. Plus, like, I think that it's a layered advice where, like, I'm sure what's happening in the manga will parallel like Damien's journey itself as well. So if you pay attention to those manga pages, they might be indicating what's going to happen to Damien later on in the book.
Oh, I didn't even think about that he's like foreshadowing through the manga because they do keep showing the pages.
Yeah, they're showing you the book.
I didn't remember that.
So
yeah, they showed it. I was looking at it like, wait, is that one that I've read? No, that's something that they made.
That's new.
All right. Well, yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. I'm just, like I said, playing catch up. I had an issue where my tablet wasn't updating the books, and I'm not a fan of reading them on my computer. So it was like, oh, I read through one or two. I was complaining about this. Apparently, I read it out of order, but the Onslaught issue is the ending of Way of X. I thought it was the beginning of Onslaught, but whatever.
Yeah,
it was
I
weird
can see why that happened.
It was weird they gave it another title since they could have just made it Way of X issue 6.
Why is Marvel doing that? They did that with the entirety of Spider-Man. Spider-Man with Sinister Wars Spider-Man. Sinister Wars Spider-Man.
So there's a theory on that. So Way of X issue 1 probably sold decently, right? And then 2, 3, 4, 5 probably sold less and less. So do you think Way of X 6 would have sold better than Onslaught Revolutions issue 1? Like,
no,
what's going to be the bigger draw, right?
Well, it's the bigger draw, but
they're
just making it a mess. But I feel like happened. You remember back in the day when they were doing 6 to 10 issues of volume 1s every year?
Yeah.
And then we get to a point where you're like, I don't know what to read anymore. You have 4 volume 1s. Yeah. And they were like, we're fixing that. It's going to be linear again. You're going to understand the how to read it. And I feel like they're like, oh, that didn't make as much money. Go back to just throwing everything at a wall.
Exactly.
Yeah, but that even ever since I was a kid, that's been happening. Trying to read Maximum Carnage as a kid, you got to read Amazing, then Spider-Man, then Web of, then Spectacular, then Unlimited. It's like, what the hell? I can't afford all this, man.
But all right, let's move into our topics of the day. The first one we got is that Wonder Woman's 80th anniversary is coming up, and DC has a global celebration planned, including her being inducted into the Comic-Con Museum Character Hall of Fame October 21st. It will be streamed on YouTube in a new anthology, Wonderful Woman of the World, a 400-page reprint collection called Wonder Woman 80 Years of the Amazon Warrior, in a new series of Nubia and the Amazons, and the forthcoming Wonder Woman 80th anniversary 100-page super spectacular and more. This is cool, but I feel like it's just what they've been doing with every character that hits that milestone.
Yeah. No, it's like, it would be like if they said, we're going to give it an 80-page giant. Like, oh, wow, you did that with Green Arrow a month ago. And
you did it. Remember when Robin had, and there was all the variants, and then Joker and all the variants? And
I've been actually not reading those because I like to read all the books like by Tuesday to film my reviews. And it's like, all right, I'm not reading this 80-page doesn't matter book. But yeah, when I read this news, I'm like, oh, she's not already in the the comic book character Hall of Fame? Like, of course, deserves to be there.
Well, like, I thought that too. Like, what even is the Comic-Con of Hall of Fame? Like, 2019, Batman was inducted. Like, oh,
that was the first year. That was actually the first year because remember you were there with me, weren't you? Though.
Yeah. Well, no. At Comic-Con San Diego, no way. I haven't been.
Oh, it was at Comic-Con. I got invited to it on the floor, and I was at the same question: what is this? Where am I? And it was a brand new thing. They were just starting. I was like, oh, okay.
So good for her. I remember. Well, not remember, but I remember the story of. I think Wonder Woman was hitting 8. It was hitting 50, and DC had no plans. This is going back into the 80s, and it's funny because like DC still has no plans. And George Perez was doing Wonder Woman at the time, and he was like, "How come there's no big thing? Like she's turning 50. This is a big deal." And they're like, "Because it's Wonder Woman. We don't care." And he's like, "Well, we should make an event." And so he crafted this like whole massive Wonder Woman event, and it may be one of the worst events in DC history. And it's like, it's just like. don't try to artificially inflate Wonder Woman because it won't work. So it's too bad.
Was that
I
the War
like
of the
Wonder-
Gods?
That was War of the Gods.
Oh, I like Wonder Woman as a character. I like her history.
Yeah.
I feel like nobody can do good arcs with her. The only time I got into the Wonder Woman book, and I was reading it every week that it came out, was the New 52 run with Brian Azzarello,
Yeah.
where they soft rebooted, made her a demigod, and it was all about her relationships with the other gods, and all of that going back and forth. And that was fun and interesting, and they canceled it, and now she's back to like not knowing what the hell's going on. Every
Almost
time I
like
read
the-
Wonder Woman, I don't know what's happening.
It's almost like the character transcends her stories, you know?
Yeah. The newest run has been fun, where she was in Valhalla, and then I
Yeah.
dropped off after the Valhalla run, so I'm waiting to see.
You
what-
were probably right to do it because
That
the
was a
Valhalla
good-
run was great,
Yeah.
and then it just gets less great as it goes.
Yeah, they had the little Ratatas character, and it was cool to see like DC's version of Thor, and they kind of really like stuck it to Thor, but kind of redeemed him at the same time.
Yeah.
But it was cool to see her going through the different. Was she going through Norse mythology, Greek mythology? and
That
all
was
these
the
different.
indication, but then it never really went that way. Like, if it had been that she's going through different mythologies, like for the whole run,
Yeah.
that would have been cool. But
Right.
that's not what they did.
She went to like 2, and then it was
Yeah,
like,
she
it
went to
was
2,
over.
and they were like, "Well, we're done." I'm like, "Okay, there's
But what
a few
about-
more?"
The villain was kind of interesting. Like it was kind of like not. It was like a reverse Wonder Woman, but not really. Just something Jasper or something taking her form or something like
Right?
that.
I don't recall the name.
But it was cool. She had this scythe that can like slice through the fabric of reality and jump through multiverses.
Yeah, it's a cool.
I just remember that like the New 52 run was great, and then they were like, it's not selling. Bring in, I forget who, but they tried a brand new thing where they brought in Donna, and that was fun.
Mhm.
And then Rebirth happened, and remember Rebirth was going to be like the return to form. We were
Yup.
going to get the who's writing that one?
Rucka, I think, right?
Rucka, yeah. We're finally going to get the Rucka story, and all he did was like set up a bunch of mysteries for 15 issues and leave.
Yeah.
I've been digging the Wonder Girl Yarrow Floor stuff though so far.
Yep,
That's really
great
good. I
book.
love the art on that one. I
The
feel
art
like
is
the
great,
moment the
man.
art shifts, it's going to be, it's over.
And I like how like she's like she doesn't really know her what she is yet or her powers yet, and well she kind of knows, but she's very naive though. But it's kind of like you're learning along with the character. It's fun.
Yeah.
All right, so next up, we've got an interesting decision because weird time to choose to do this. HBO Max has ordered a 3-part DC documentary series that will take on an unprecedented look at the enduring and influential legacy of DC and their rich legacy of over 80 years of iconic storytelling.
Good for them.
It's just a weird decision to do that now when they're in such a weird slump story-wise and like creator-wise, and they're trying to figure out what they're doing.
Yeah.
Now let's celebrate them.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's HBO Max. They got to make content. They're really like pushing DC as like an entertainment company. So I get it. And, you know, the longer they wait, the more influential creators that help make DC what it is are going to die. So you might as well get them on
That's true.
camera. So
It's just,
Yeah.
I'm finding it weird that HBO Max basically is like, all right, so we got DC. We're going to make more DC properties. Our first one, Peacemaker. Our second one, the documentary. And then they're claiming Titans of Doom Patrol, but those were already made. That was a whole thing that was going on before this.
yeah.
So it's just interesting. I don't know.
True.
But it could be like you said, maybe it's an HBO decision. Hey, what if we did like a documentary on you guys? And someone at DC was like, "Yeah, sure. I mean, hey,
Right.
come by on Thursday. We'll get some people rounded up." You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I would check it out. I'm here for it. But I've actually been sleeping on the HBO Max stuff. I haven't watched the Harley animated stuff, which everyone has said is really good.
Yep.
And
That one's really
Peacemaker's
good,
there. I like, the Suicide Squad was great. I would love to see the Peacemaker show. So I'm going to have to start putting that on my watch list. I'm already watching so much between Why the Last Man. I'm watching the Wu-Tang American Saga. What If? I'm not typically a TV guy, but they got me watching all these shows.
Or you're becoming it. I mean, this is your job now. You got to watch them all.
I got to get once I get all the CWs under my belt, then I can really say that I did something.
Yeah.
Well, I don't recommend that at all because I'm already doing it, and I highly don't recommend that. And Superman's the only one worth watching, and I got Sal to watch the first 3 episodes, and he
You
was
did.
out.
Yeah. I was like, nah. It wasn't even bad. I just didn't have any more patience for it. It was
Yeah.
just,
I think you'd like how it ended, but I mean, I'm not. I
It's
would
not
not.
over.
No, it is over.
The Superman show?
Yeah. Well, they're coming back for season 2.
Yeah,
but-
exactly. Like, it's not like this season ended, but the show's not over.
Right. All right, so this is an interesting one, and there's a lot of speculation and theories as to why it's going on, but Marvel has abruptly canceled the Guardians of the Galaxy comic book by Al Ewing. Marvel has offered no explanation and is making the September 22nd issue the last in the series with the conclusion of the last Annihilation event. Fans expect the comic book to return or be rebooted in 2022 to line up with the Volume 3 movie release. So I haven't been reading this, but apparently they did a huge amount of status quo changes. And the running theory is that because they changed up so many things, they're just going to end this, let it cool off for a year, and then bring it back.
I dropped it, man. Like, I think Donny Cates had an okay run, and there was this whole Death of Groot thing that they were building up towards, but then I think they killed Star-Lord instead, and then Al Ewing took over, and I just thought it was boring, man. I couldn't get into it.
I like the Donny Cates stuff. That one I did.
Yeah, Donny Cates one was okay, but you know what? I'm a huge Donny Cates fan. Not my favorite Donny Cates work, though.
No.
I mean, I like the idea of hunting Gamora. That was fun.
Yeah, but I already read that in Infinity Wars.
Well, yeah, but this is the aftermath. You got to get her now.
No, I don't care about that.
I didn't remember that.
Infinity Wars is when she became Requiem, and we all thought she was the coolest new villain. And then they're like, no, it's Gamora. Like,
no.
It was a Scooby-Doo moment.
That was weak. That would be like if they introduced the Scooby-Doo villain, and then 2 minutes later they were like, it's Old Man Withers. Like, you know, it was literally Gamora. Requiem shows up, and we're like, is that Gamora? And then she's like, haha, it's Gamora. Like, yeah, I know.
Gamora's missing, and who's this new person using a sword?
Who kills Thanos, and she's really mad at him. What do you think I am? Anyway.
I didn't even read that either. What, Infinity War or Warps?
Infinity Wars.
So, okay, so
there was a Warps too after that, right?
Yeah,
well,
that
so
was
what happened is
Warps, yeah.
in Wars, Gamora had the idea of instead of annihilating half of the population, she'll merge the population into one. So the inverse of Thanos, and that created Infinity Warps.
Is anybody going to just double the resources? Are we never going to try that?
No one has that idea. Make the universe bigger.
And what's crazy is, right, if you think about how, I don't want to get too deep here, but how infinite the universe is with how many galaxies and stars and planets, like, there is enough resources. You
right.
You
just got to go get them.
Like, there's like 7 space cultures in Marvel comics. Like,
I wish everyone had a teleporter so we could go to different planets that had all the shit we need.
And boom! Hold on. Teleporters!
Yeah! Or just like everyone has food. Problem, right? It's the food, right, Thanos? Because really, you're not talking about like people not having enough like wristwatches.
And not enough oil or something.
He's on the side of the graphics cards and the PS5s. Like, well, you know what? If I get rid of half of you, you will all get a PS5. Problem solved.
Or we could all just have PS5s. You gotta earn it. They're suffering.
I'm going to put you in a death battle, and the winner walks away with a PS5. I'm not making more. I got one. It's an interesting decision. There was a lot. Dan was trying to explain it to me a little bit. I guess they, like, a lot of the characters came out as bi or gay in the series, which is the speculation as to why like so much was changed across the board that they're just going to end it. Obviously, there's no direction either way on that one. I don't know if that's the situation. Getting it back on the status quo for the movie does make sense, because if you remember all the way back at the original Guardians, the Guardians that you recognize didn't exist in comics. This is not Star-Lord. This is not Groot. This is not Rocket. The Guardians that have existed in comics came out of the movies, and they've always kind of lined them back up with the movies in time for each one. So,
well, that makes sense. I mean, they're planning to coincide with the release. That makes sense. Are we going to get Adam Warlock? I mean, have we had Adam Warlock in comics?
He was in Wars.
He was in Wars. That makes sense.
And he's mentioned quite frequently in Infinite Destinies. Apparently a crossover that only I have read.
Yes, that's
in the entirety of Marvel fans.
I accidentally read the Thor issue, and I was like, what is this?
Apparently I'm the only person that read Infinite Destinies, so...
I seriously never hear anyone talking about that.
That's what I'm saying. I think I'm the only one. Hey, guys, the Infinity Stones are back, and I'm the only one that knows.
Right. Yeah, you should mention it.
I got a video series coming out. It's going to be great.
Good. Okay. Get us all hyped.
You should do that, because I think Rob will do that. Everybody missed this. Yeah, everybody missed the Infinity Stones were back because no one's reading it.
Right?
It's because they didn't tell anyone it was happening.
Yeah.
They were just like, hey, here's Infinite Destinies. It's the continuation. It is?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's funny.
All right, next up on our list, MCU Eternals will have the third longest runtime of any Marvel movie with a runtime of 156 minutes.
The third? No, not the third longest runtime. Oh my god.
Well, when you got 27, 28 movies, it's kind of impressive.
I guess. And yes, like Endgame is the longest movie of all time or something. Like, it's not really, but it's like, you needed a lot of time. Okay. I mean, the movie's big and it's got lots of sweeping shots and
that's what I was gonna say. Feige was saying it's the most beautiful movie he's ever seen. He didn't say it's the most intensive. It's got all the action and it's going to be a lot of sweeping shots of landscapes, I think.
Well, I think he's mitigating expectations here. He's like, he wouldn't want to say, because if he, he could easily be like, Spider-Man, like No Way Home is the most action-packed, like boundary-breaking Spider-Man movie you'll ever seen. No one will be like, what? What a liar. With Eternals, it's like Eternals is one of the most boring Marvel teams you could possibly create. And
I am excited for it. I am excited for it.
Third longest. I mean, too. It looks gorgeous, and it's got a brilliant cast and a terrific director, and it's a blank slate because like no one knows anything about the Eternals.
There's almost nothing in comics about the Eternals. Look at their wiki page; it's like this big.
Hey, there are a lot of books that just nobody. That just they fight the deviants. They whinge to themselves. They die. They come back. Like, who cares?
The best thing you can do is not go in with too high expectations and hopefully get blown away. I mean, there's a lot of interesting stuff they can do. Thanos is an Eternal. He's a deviant. Of Titan. Like, they could play with that. There's Celestials there. Are they going to play with? I don't know if they're going to try to tie Galactus in with that or something like that. If they give us something like that, and then also they're tying it in. We could talk post credit scene with Shang-Chi, right? Because there was
yeah. I was like, you think we're good with that, Sal?
Oh yeah, I saw it. Remember, we did a whole episode about it.
Oh, right. Well, I don't know if it was this show. You know how many shows we have, Sal?
So that blip, right? That was that also the thing that woke up the Eternals and the Deviants or whatever.
They talk about what the energy that spiked and how like that. Yes, like the two snaps result in something. I don't know if it's connected with the rings, but I know that there's also like, within the rings, there's like a beacon and it's calling something. What's going on? I was thinking it actually was going to tie in with Eternals because like it would be neat for them to set up like a new thing where it's like the beacon is for Galactus or something, but like
or Silver Surfer or something.
Yeah, or Apocalypse, and it's like what? But there's no way they're going to throw that into Shang-Chi because it's just like no. But it'd be neat if it was just like. It was setting up literally the next movie. So you're just like, wow, I saw Shang-Chi, I saw Eternals, they're kind of linked. I'm having a good time. I'm not getting too hyped universe. Up. Yeah, it's a cinematic universe. I'm not getting too overhyped. And that's what Phase 4 has been. Like them not putting Mephisto in WandaVision was a great way to like just slap every Marvel like speculator down and go like, no, stop. And now you'll notice there's actually like a crop of new Marvel movie commentators who have come out of that who are like I'm thinking we should manage our expectations a bit. Like what a revolutionary concept. But like you'll see that there's like a few of them that have like really created like cottage industries for themselves. Where they're like I wouldn't get too excited. And I'm like, oh, really? You think? So
because
now that's
you got too excited last
right,
time. I think I know a couple of those guys.
Yeah, let me swap a few of your other ones.
Jeff, I may have been at a podcast with a few of them right here on this channel.
What I always wondered were the writers like they think it's Mephisto? Like, what are you talking about?
yeah, and a bunch of them were like, who even is Mephisto?
Yeah, like they had a wiki.
The devil? No, we're not putting the devil in our Disney Plus show.
I think the worst ones are actually the Twitter guys. This is one that I follow. I don't know how. I don't think I actually follow him. I think it's because I follow Spider-Man as a topic.
Yeah.
But the Spider fan account, who apparently is like a big leaker for Spider-Man stuff, is constantly doing these crazy like hype expectation things. Yeah, it also reminds me, there was a YouTuber a while ago. I think it was Hollywood Reporter, or what was his name? You were following him for a little while, Sal.
Me? From Hollywood Reporter?
No, I don't think it was Hollywood Reporter. I think it was like Hollywood Leaks or something. Some guy who somehow had all the information from Hollywood.
Okay.
And would make all these videos.
That's what's his name. I can't think of his name.
Because he hasn't come up recently. He used to be like the guy that had all the leaks.
They probably plugged the leaks.
I can't believe his name is I'm drawing a blank on. If I said the guy's name, you'd be like,
we'd know who it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's like when like DC reorganized, like when DC restructured, there's a certain website that was really good at getting leaks, and that guy got fired from DC, and he was the direct link to that website. And now that website that like was really good at leaks now just tells you just anything,
Mikey Sutton.
hoping that they look. Oh, Sutton?
Mikey Sutton.
I know the name.
That sounds familiar. That might have been.
That's one of the guys that has all the leaks.
There's a couple guys that just have like an insane amount of leaks. Like they know somebody.
Yeah.
Right.
No, there's somebody at Craft Services who's just like, yeah.
I was overlist. I'm the guy that delivers them their meal, and I time it perfectly at every meeting.
Here's a picture of Andrew Garfield getting pizza someplace.
No, Bleeding Cool doesn't typically have leaks. Our chat is pretty good at Bleeding
Cool.
too.
No, it was Bleeding Cool.
No, but Bleeding Cool does have leaks, but I don't think Bleeding Cool has leaks. Bleeding Cool just throws everything against the wall.
Well, now they do, but they used to have a guy.
Oh, okay. Because like I've noticed Bleeding Cool just does like, here's 10 possibilities. That one was right. See, we called it.
That's it. Yeah. Well, because there's no guy, so now I have to guess. Oh, hey, Batman is going to die, live, be gay, and then like one of those is going to happen,
or all three. No.
Yeah.
I mean, our old co-host Rob, love him to death, but he used to do the same thing. He would throw every idea against the wall.
And be like, called it.
Right. I got that one. Called it. Like,
what about all the times you were wrong? Nah.
No, we don't. I wasn't wrong. Those were all leading to this idea.
I don't know if you're looking at the chat, but they're all hyping up how awesome I am and how right I am. So I win the conversation.
Right. So moving on, I guess not much more to talk about there. So moving on to the next one is the potentially big discussion. Sal and I did a very long direct discussion on this one.
We did.
So which we lost the footage for, which is a whole nother story, but it should be live over on Absolutely Marvel and DC right now. So we kind of have our opinions over there. We can go over them briefly, Sal, so that the audience here knows what's going on. But basically, Marvel has filed a series of lawsuits in a bid to retain control of the characters, including Spider-Man and Iron Man. This came out of the Steve Ditko estate, filed the termination. Okay, I'm not going to read all this because I'm going to explain what's going on.
Though, not Iron Man, right?
Yeah.
They're suing the estate of like Don Heck and people who created Iron Man as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, Steve Ditko's brother came out and sued Marvel because the copyright termination should be coming up in 2023, which means that Steve Ditko and his family would get back the character. Marvel countersuing every single creator to basically say that that's not viable anymore and it's not going to happen. Precedent states that the creators of Hellraiser and Friday the 13th were able to argue getting their copyrights back on their licensings. But the difference here is all the creators in Marvel did the Marvel method, which is them all in a bullpen, all discussing the ideas, which negates the idea that one person actually made the characters. So the difference between that and the Friday the 13th Hellraiser guys, Clive Barker and I forget the Friday the 13th guy, they made those properties as employees. So that was why they were able to argue and get it back. Back in 2011, there was already a lawsuit that went down because of Ghost Rider.
Yes.
In which the creator of Ghost Rider wanted to get the licensing back for that with the Nick Cage movie. And that was thrown out because it was Marvel method and collaboratively made. So now we're at a point where Marvel is trying to get rid of the copyright termination laws and the families are trying to get credit. Right. Cover that pretty well there, Sal?
I'd say sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Good enough.
Sounds like I'm not fully listening.
My whole thing
I'm
with
listening.
This is
I heard it all.
My whole thing is that when Steve Ditko was alive, he never wanted to pursue this. So it's kind of, to me, like, is his family just trying to get the money? Like, come on, man. I don't like that.
That was Sal's entire point in our other video. It's like, I don't care about Steve Ditko's brother.
Right.
I care about Steve Ditko.
And like, I get it, but it's like, respect the man's wishes. Obviously, he never went through there. He agrees it was co-created with Stan, but he feels like he had 90% creative, while Stan had 10, which might be the case.
Yeah.
But yeah, respect the man's wishes. He passed away. Now you're trying to get money for something that he did. And I don't know. That just seems kind of like sleazy to me.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically what Sal was saying on the whole topic yesterday. Do you want to add anything to it, Sal?
Oh, just like I don't want to defend like a multi-billion-dollar corporation.
Right.
It's not like it's the BS Disney Marvel countersuit that I don't care for, where they're like, oh, let's preemptively sue everybody else to make sure that doesn't happen again. I mean, it is part of the Disney lawsuit playbook of like, this is how we do it. People are probably going to get paid, but they have to go through all these hoops. And I just wish that, I wish that companies weren't companies. I wish they were run by human beings who actually just went like, at the get-go, you know, like when Marvel was an entertainment company, because Marvel was a comic book company, and you know, Stan was a good carnival barker, and then as Marvel grew and evolved, money started coming in, like real money and licensing opportunities. And so it's like when real money started coming through the door, Stan / the actual like leaders of Marvel should have been like, we need to reevaluate our work for hire contracts, because a lot of these like contracts are being thrown out or being disputed because copyright law protects employees, and freelancers are not technically employees, and that's like the loophole that gets them out of it. It's like, well, you knew what you were doing when you worked here. Like, I hired you to draw a book. You drew the book. You don't get any more out of it but the money that I paid you. And it's like, that's true, but if I make $7 billion over a period of 70 years, I feel like it's just the right thing to do for you to be entitled for some percentage of that outside of just getting like the $25 I paid you in 1962. And so it's like, I wish that were the case. It's not. It should be. If lawsuits help to make the conversation go in that direction, then I'm all for it. But I also don't have any sympathy for surviving members of actually creative people using them when they weren't alive anymore, because that's the thing. Like, if Steve Ditko's brother had been like, Steve, come on, and like raise hell about it because Steve only died a few years ago, you know, then I'd be like, well, he's just carrying, you know, like the McDuffies. You know, Dwayne McDuffie passed away, and his widow kept the fight going and kept a charity going. Like, I get that.
Yeah,
like that is somebody who is not just trying to get it for the money. That's somebody who's honoring the legacy of her husband. This is not necessarily that, and it's apples and oranges. I mean, Dwayne McDuffie's inheritance / like portion of the pie is infinitely small compared to Spider-Man and how much money that's made. I mean, I will say, you know, in the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon show, it's odd that it's the first and only time I've like ever seen in multimedia it say Spider-Man created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. And I heard a rumor, and I might be wrong, and not that I'm not wrong. I heard the rumor. So like, just, I'm already getting ahead of the chat, but like, I heard a rumor that Stan was like, let's put Steve's name on the show. I don't think that's, I don't think Stan had that kind of clout at that point. B, I don't know. But I have seen interviews of Stan where he's like, yeah, Steve created Spider-Man with me. Like, he wouldn't be successful without Steve's drawings. And it's like, fair enough.
I think the best, I like what you said about there should be just a real human behind everything. Because at the end of the day, if there was a real human behind it, we would have a Witcher situation. For those who don't know what happened with The Witcher, the original creator who made the books sold the rights to make a video game to CD Projekt Red. CD Projekt Red's game became enormously huge, launched the company to the stratosphere. They then went on to make Cyberpunk. We won't talk about that. But they then honored when the creator came out and said, hey, I feel like I got I got gypped because you guys made so much money off my license. Their response was, here's money. Thank you for creating this character.
Right.
And that resulted. That was the end of the argument.
Right. But Marvel was like, no, here's $5,000 at a handshake, Ed Brubaker. Thanks for creating the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, that's kind of messed up. Like, why?
It's not the same thing.
They made so much money off that. Like, why would they nickel and dime?
Yeah.
That's kind of like messed up.
And that's the worst part about it, too, because they are nickel and diming. And then, like, every other creator at least wanted their $5,000 check.
Yeah.
And Marvel's like, you know what? Lawsuits. Fine, go away.
Okay. You know what? I was wrong. You know, I knew we shouldn't have given him a 0.1%.
Like, they thought they were going out of their way to give him the $5,000. Like, now we're bad guys for giving you $5,000 we didn't have to give you.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't know you were going to go into the papers and talk about how that was a low number. That's a very nice number.
We didn't have to give you shit.
Yeah,
that's like one mortgage payment. Go pay your mortgage.
Right.
And shut up.
He's like, I can't afford a house. I'm Ed Brubaker.
But
yeah.
And that's why I agree. I wish a real human was there, because a real human would look at this and go, oh, okay, you know, you're right. You deserve money. I don't know what they gave that guy, but the lawsuit was dropped. Yeah. So it was enough.
Right.
It wasn't like settled out of court. It was dropped. Like, oh, yep, no more lawsuit. We're good.
Mm-hmm. It's over. Yeah. It's like that moment when in the first Suicide Squad movie where he's like, I'm not seeing enough zeros, Angie. Oh, never mind. Okay. Hume.
Chad is informing me that the Witcher creator is a bad example because it was a loophole in Polish law that let him get more money from the property that he. And regardless of all of that, it was enough money to the guy that it ended the discussion. You know what I mean? And and it did make headlines that CD Projekt Red just made good.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the law was or what loophole he was for suing, but it wasn't like CD Projekt Red had to pay him off. And no, it was like CD Projekt Red honored the creator and gave him money. And it's over. So
yeah, it almost just seems like Marvel should have been like, hey, Brubaker, we're making a movie out of the comic you created. We're going to put you down for 5% royalties or this. And just be preemptive and offer them a piece of the overall pie. You know, don't give them a check afterwards. Don't give him shit. Just give him a percentage of royalties that DVD something. You know what I'm saying? Like,
the easiest solution to all this is like the Stan Lee solution. You'll notice that like Stan had sued Marvel before multiple times in his past, like despite him being like, "Hey, Excelsior, Marvel, haha." Also, I'm suing you.
Well, I mean, just to go in line with that, if people don't remember, there was like a 10-year period where Stan Lee didn't want anything to do with Marvel. That's when he ended up on the Sci-Fi show where he was doing all that stuff. He launched his own
superhero.
He launched a whole other comic imprint, everything. He literally wanted nothing to do with Marvel for like 10 years.
Well, he probably legally couldn't even associate with like the Marvel brand. But anyway, my point being, you'll notice that like you'll see him on a lot of Marvel movies where it says executive producer Stan Lee, and I'm like, you didn't executive produce this movie at all. You have nothing to do with this movie. That's a good role to have, and that's like, it's a percentage. Like you get paid as executive producer after the fact and during the fact. So yes, like Jem said, like that's the way to do it. It's just like every time we do a straight up adaptation, we call the creators of if you're a creator of this book, adaptation, or character, you are an executive producer on this movie, and you will be paid for as long as this movie exists. And it's like, and as long as you're alive, and that's it. And it's like, I think that would go a long way.
Yeah.
You know, because some of these folks just want to be invited to the premiere and want to get some kind of stipend or some kind of like monthly residual check. And it's like, the executive producer credit would be the solution to give everybody everything they want and hype them up a little bit. Like, hey, look who it is. It's Bob McLeod. He created the New Mutants. Look, let's not just spell his name wrong in the end credits. Let's have him show up at the red carpet.
I was going to say, does Disney give them credits in the thing at all? I know
they put special
DC
thanks at the end.
They do, right? That's cool.
Yeah. They'll put special thanks for any involvement, which I've noticed. Like I'll see, I saw names on Shang-Chi where I'm like, really?
This is the guy that got I can't pronounce his name. But the guy no, the guy that played Shang-Chi.
Oh, Simu Liu.
Yeah, this is the guy that got him coffee 3 times during the special thanks, because without that energy, he was going to be
there's errand boys all over that thing, and it's like you're not going to throw credit to the dude who wrote this book or created Thanos, like
right, because he didn't make coffee so good that we got an awesome fight.
Deserved that.
Yeah, Jim Starlin was pissed too, right?
Yeah, but that's another brilliant thing though, is Jim Starlin is in Endgame, right? He's in that. He's in the therapy scene with Cap,
and he wrote another Thanos book after the beef, I think.
Oh yeah, he will get paid SAG credit forever because he's in that scene.
That's a big movie too.
Same deal for Ostrander, who was in the who's in the Suicide Squad movie, and it's like that's another way to pay people, and give them credit and help them out. Like that's a help. And that is like a quiet, non-public kind of like it's for the audience. They're like, oh, look. And behind the scenes, it's like I did you a favor.
Yeah.
I didn't give you the opportunity to be in our movie. I gave you a check forever. That's cool.
So I don't have it on the list here. I'm not going to use Dan's last thing. By the way, Dan, you can't hear him, but coming to me and saying, we have a great list of topics. Not a great list. We went through that one in a hurry. I'm calling you out on this one, Dan.
Listen, we got 40 minutes out of this whole show so far. That's not bad.
That's because we're good at our jobs. There is one. I don't know if we want to discuss it, since it is. So there are leaks on the X-Men project. Whether or not it's true or not, and I don't know if you guys have read these.
No.
I don't know if we want to discuss them, as they potentially could be legit.
Is this the comic or the movie?
The movie universe has leaks.
I'm cool.
I'm in.
I don't care. Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to make sure before I just go out and be like, by the way, the origin is leaked.
Right.
Yeah. I heard that there's kind of, I don't know how credible this is, that it's up in the air with the term X-Men.
No.
That's the first. I think that's being taken out of context.
Yeah,
because
Somebody just mentioned it on Twitter, and then that was it, right? Yeah.
I
No,
think
it's an old
supposedly
interview from a person who has nothing to do with that decision.
Didn't they have this whole thing like the mutants, and it looked like the New Mutants logo, but
Yes.
it's new? Like they could, I don't know. I could see them going with just the mutants. Like, what was that?
Well, I think that so that's the leak that they are going to go with just the mutants, but I think that that's to set up the X-Men. And as far as and he's right, the she made one line basically about why is it called X-Men, because there's women on it too, and maybe we're just going to change it to turn it into something else, and it got blown way out of proportions.
Yeah,
I really doubt they're going to take a 60-year-old brand and just completely eradicate it and rename it. That's just
it's too marketable. There's no way you're going to change X-Men. Because men is a catch-all for the human race.
The dawn of man.
Yeah, that was the point of it. Yeah. And so I personally feel like it's been blown way out of proportion. And I think it was something said in passing.
Right.
And that's all I think that is. But the
one time in like 2004 or 3, like 2002 or 3, Kirsten Dunst was interviewed about making a press tour for Spider-Man 2. And she suggested that Spider-Man should die in the next movie because that'd be totally cool. No one thought that Spider-Man was going to die in Spider-Man 3.
Right.
And that's
Twitter wasn't was it even out yet?
No. But it was like, it's one of those things where it's as valid as what was said about X-Men. Like, just someone who is kind of involved, but has no sway on who is going to make that decision.
Right.
Said something that no one would agree with.
If they were going to go that route, X-Men wouldn't be X-Men right now.
Right.
At the reboot for the X-Men, it would be the mutants, Yeah.
So
the leak claims that Marvel's big X-Men project is codenamed The Mutants and includes a movie with that name, along with plans to introduce other characters into the MCU via shows and movies leading up to the actual Mutants film. Apparently, the first ones could show up in the MCU as early as 2021. So we got 2 big movies still coming out this year that there could be an appearance of one.
And no way they're going to cram that into Spider-Man with everything crammed in there already.
They just have one guy run by and Doctor Strange is like, I think that's a mutant.
I think they could retcon a lot of stuff to be like, oh, that was a mutant. That was a mutant. They kind of have been like playing with that a little bit in the Disney Plus shows.
Mm-hmm.
The leak also notes that there may be mentions about mutants feeling free to reveal themselves to the world and fight crimes after Tony Stark revealed himself as Iron Man. Additionally, it claims that the blip could play a major part in turning regular humans against their mutant brothers. So I mean, if you think about that as a plot line, mutants are not around. Now they are. People assume they were brought back by the blip, which is why people would be against them. Because that's one issue I've always had with comic books in general and the X-Men. It makes no sense that you don't like the guy with the laser beams, but we're cool with the guy with the freaking nuke armor.
Right. The Avengers and not even for the Avengers, forget it. Fantastic Four are beloved heroes, and X-Men are
feared and hated.
They've never given a legit reason why that divide exists. Like, I get the original reason and why it made sense in the storyline, but since then, we have yet to have a reason why that divide exists.
Well, I guess it's like you were in a cosmic accident. They gave you powers. You're a deformed mutant. There's like a difference, I guess. I don't know, but.
So it claims as for the first X-Men film, and it says that, which is why I don't think this whole X-Men being dropped thing is going to be. I think we're going to get the mutants and then the X-Men. It'll be directly connected to Eternals and focus primarily on Charles Xavier and Moira McTaggart. It could also feature the Brotherhood of Mutants, Magneto, Mystique, Sabretooth, Toad, Pyro, and the Blob as the main villains, and will include an X-Men team inspired by the First Class comics: Angel, Jean Grey, Cyclops, Iceman, and Beast.
So I'm a big fan of starting from the beginning with the movies.
Yes.
Like, I'm with that. But I have a problem with, like, coming at the tail end of this Avengers arc. It's like they were coming up together in the comics. So how do you explain it? I guess the blip is the big explanation for everything here, right? That's what. Yeah. So does the X-Men start where the Avengers ends, kind of thing?
It could be.
Maybe, but I mean, if they're going to link it into Eternals, maybe something happens with the Eternals that makes them aware. I mean, part of the plot of the Eternals is that they've been around the whole time and they just were never needed. So maybe that will be the final thing that's like, okay, get the mutants out here too.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to introduce the X-Men / mutant kind after already introducing the Eternals, which are just like, because they're a hidden race of people and they're just revealing themselves to the world now, and it's like
Same thing.
That's what you could have done with the X-Men. I don't buy any of that.
And look, the fans, casual fans, even everyone was making memes. Now you just decided to show up. Like, where have you been this whole time? And then they kind of explained it in the next trailer. Like, but yeah, then to do that all over again with X-Men, you can't. You got to go somewhere. No. You got to go different route.
So the last bit of this leak is that the movie will focus on social issues against minorities, using it as a metaphor for minorities and the way society mistreats them. So the problem I have, I was going to say the comics. So my problem with this whole leak is that it's way too broad.
Yeah, this isn't a leak. This is nonsense. This is just everything.
This is your boy
saying.
Throwing the stuff on the wall, and one of those might work.
Yep.
So if I named the main evil mutants and the main first team and Professor X and the X-Men and the mutants, something's got to stick.
Yep. No, this sounds totally made up.
My whole thing is like, if they do this right, if they do Fantastic Four and X-Men right, we'll be good with superhero movies for the next 10 years.
Right.
If they mess this up, this could be the end of the Western, man. Like, we're already kind of prolonging this genre, and for us, that's not good news. Although I will be buying key issues once the market crashes. But I want to see another run, man. Give me another run like we had. And those properties, they have the stuff to do it with. They just got to do it right, man.
Yeah.
When we first started this, when Sal, me, and Rob first met, and we made the weekly poll in the beginning, I used to say in a meeting with us, we'd have once a week, we'd always get to it. I'd always say the bubble is going to burst in 2020 when Endgame drops. Well, we didn't know, but at the time, whatever that was, because I think at the time it was just one big Infinity War movie.
Yes.
Right.
It was Infinity War Part 1 and 2.
It should have been Infinity Gauntlet, Infinity War, but anyway.
Yeah, but I used to say every time, like Rob would always be like, "No, we're going to the moon," diamond hands, and I'd be like, "Yeah, do the diamond hands and plan for the end of this at Infinity War. Like it's over."
Because you didn't know that they were going to get the rights to X-Men and Fantastic Four.
No,
right.
No,
but here's the thing. Yes, we're kind of prolonging it, like you said, but without a Thanos or an end goal, what are we prolonging? DC is not doing great right now with the story. Like they're good stories, but I'm not hyped for DC like I was 2 years ago. Marvel comic books, other than X-Men, I'm not hyped for comic books on the X-Men right now. And it's not just me. COVID fucked so much shit.
Yeah.
And now the movies are delayed. So where are we going?
Yeah, the issue right now, I noticed, I was just at my comic book store today and they were talking about how there's no hype for events, for comics now, or for Marvel and DC right now. Like, there's just nothing very big or exciting coming out. Like, no one's really excited. There's nothing warranting like midnight releases or any kind of like groundswell of support and excitement. Like, there's books that are good that people enjoy, but like there's no big tentpole moments. And that happens. It ebbs and flows. I will say that COVID was a great time for comic shops, like comic book stores. Some of them closed, but the ones that were doing that had their druthers did really well. Like comics have increased sales as a result of of COVID. So
they just need that hook storyline. They got to get us back in.
They just need
they need that rebirth moment, that New 52 moment. We need the all new, all different Marvel moment.
But we need Civil War.
No, all new, all different Marvel turned out bad, but it was hype at first.
but we need Civil War. Civil War was the solution, because Civil War, the issue was it was a big story. It had a lot of it had new reader appeal. It had an old reader appeal. It was a self-contained thing that had ancillary stuff that you could read but didn't impact the main story. And it was 7 parts. It was a very manageable amount of time. It didn't sprawl. It was localized to Earth and about like centralized issues. It had a really good media push because it was like easy to understand and easily to adapt in the MCU. Like, Civil War started a lot of things. And of course, like, even though Mark Miller wrote it, Bendis took that and ran with it and set up a whole new era of Marvel's continuity from there.
Yeah.
And set up like event after event after event and chain those events, and had the connectivity of one person who also like used a lot of characters. That was a great time. for comic book sales.
I gotta
And I haven't
tell you,
seen it replicated.
the comics are doing a lot what Hollywood's doing right now, and it's like a lot of no new ideas. Let's do Civil War 2. Let's do
Yeah,
Infinity Wars and Infinity Warps. Like we've already they're just revisiting those nostalgia, story arcs. Like same with Hollywood. Now we got Matrix Resurrections coming out.
Yeah.
It's like
I
give me
know.
something new. But what I will say, and somebody mentioned it in the chat, Spider-Man No Way Home is going all out fan service, and a lot of people are hyped to see the convergence of these three trilogies over different, property or whatever you want to call it. So Fox and Marvel to mix together and kind of just give us what we want. Like, just give us what we want, man.
Yeah.
This Venom thing. Did you guys see? Who was it? Was it Tom Hardy put out that Venom no spoilers picture?
Yeah.
That means there's gonna be some big spoiler ass shit in this movie.
Yeah,
that's gonna be.
I heard
I've looked at the leaks. I'm not going to mention them here because that one comes out. Yeah, that one comes out Friday, so everyone's going to go watch it. And
I'm watching it Thursday.
And,
night,
and if those leaks are accurate, that's huge. But
yeah,
I've stayed away from them somehow.
I haven't seen anything, and I'm very happy about it.
A long time ago, one of my favorite video games was getting its last chapter. It was Metal Gear Solid 5. And a week before it came out, someone decided to spoil it for me. And that was the day that I was like, in this business, I'm going to spoil shit for myself.
So when I first got into this like comic book social media space on my Instagram, that's like where I started. I saw a picture of Thanos from Guardians of the Galaxy, and I didn't think anything of it. I posted it on there. Followers, your spoilers, unfollow and all that. I was like, holy shit. So
That's why you don't do spoilers. It's funny because what you're saying, Sal, I think we all kind of thought Heroes Reborn was going to be that.
I did not think
the new one.
But I know that they.
I thought it was. I thought it was going to be the big thing to bring everyone back because right now my problem with Western comics, okay. I don't know if it's because they're trying to go the manga route of having a linear story or whatever, but we're not having those big crossovers. Like Robin, great storyline. I'm liking Batman. Their crossover, we're not getting any. Marvel's got, I know you're not a fan of Nick Spencer's run, but we got Spider-Man, we got Thor. Both of those are strong titles that I look forward to reading. Yep. X-Men's got its own interconnected, way too many comics going on thing. Mm-hmm. But I can name individual things happening right now. I can't go, Marvel's great.
Yeah.
DC is great. Like when Rebirth came out, it was like everything in DC is gold.
Yes.
And right now it's like Robin, Batman, kind of digging this one.
But the thing is, they'll have 4 or 5 Batmans coming out in 1 week, and none of them have anything to do with each other. And it's
that's another issue.
Yeah,
that's a whole nother issue of way too much Batman right now. Yeah. I hit up my brother's headache to be writing the scripts up, and he's like, "Oh, I've got one guy writing detective right now. I got one guy writing James Tynion's run of Batman." And I hit my brother up, and I'm like, "Oh, we never did Batman Year One. Do Batman, do that Batman story." And he goes, "Which Batman? There's way too much Batman. What do you want me to do?" I'm like, Year One. I said it, Year One. He goes, "Oh, okay, that was easy. I can get that one."
Right. Dan's like, these guys are all the way off script right now.
But it's just, I don't know. That's what we need. We need a rebirth. We need a Marvel. Okay, so all new, all different Marvel was kind of a bust. Marvel 2.0 worked a lot better because that's when we had like Tony Stark back in Iron Man and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. We need something like that. Some kind of like line-wide thing that gets you, this is a starting point. I can get involved. And yes, it's not really going to be a starting point, but we're all hyped because we're going to think it is for 2 issues.
Well, we had King in Black, and that had a lot of people hyped, and that's tied in with Venom, with Spider-Man, its own thing, the Spider-Verse or whatever. But
yeah,
like you said, though, it's a Spider-Verse, X-Men verse. Thor's his own thing, which is one of my favorite titles out right now. But I
can never forget Thor. Thor is amazing right now.
Yeah, for sure. Donny Cates, man, having fun.
Yeah, they need a because Aaron right now is kind of like the main guy at Marvel because he's driving the Avengers line and just had one of the like weakest selling Avengers events of all time. And
that reminds me, I got to jump on with issue 50. I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's a new arc.
Yes, that's right.
I just caught up on World War She-Hulk. I'm going to end it there before I say anything bad.
Speaking of revisiting the successful storyline.
Right, exactly.
It's not even World War Hulk in any way, shape, or form. Yeah. The concept's okay. They kidnap She-Hulk and they brainwash her to be a Russian spy, so she's the red She-Hulk and she goes to fight the Avengers. Where's the World War She-Hulk part?
I just
Well,
saw
you
something
know.
the other day. The Batgirl Who Laughs. Is that a real thing coming out?
Oh
I hope
God,
not.
is it?
I think so.
I'm
That's
looking.
a shame.
Well, I'm going to bring our episode here to an ending. Sal, why don't you, since we're cross-streaming to a lot of locations we
Yeah.
don't normally do it. For those who are joining us for the first time, this is the Absolute Comics Show. Sal and I do this show every Tuesday at about 5 p.m. Eastern, talking about the industry and the comics that we've read. We also, this is primarily streamed on twitch.tv/comicstorian, but we're looking at the possibilities of cross-promoting it, cross-seeding it across all the platforms. Since a lot of people don't know who you are, Sal, why don't you do your explanation better? Because when I tried to do both of you earlier, that was terrible.
Hopefully you got a gist for both of our brands, or at the very least our personalities, which is what we're here for. But if you're interested, come on by youtube.com/ComicPOP or our supplemental channel ComicPOP Returns, where we just kind of break down a main story and kind of explain it to a couple people who have not read it but have a lot of fun, and make it very funny. So hopefully you'll join us over on youtube.com/ComicPOP. If you like live shows like these, ComicPOP Returns is where we do our live podcasts where we talk about either one topic or we talk about the new books that came out over the week and give you recommendations for what's coming out this week that we think you should pick up.
And Jem, why don't you promote yourself?
Yeah, I do some cross blasting too. I'm primarily on YouTube. I really do statue unboxing and reviews is my main thing, but I also read the weekly titles, and I have a pretty extensive poll list. Every Wednesday morning, I drop the weekly comic book reviews, spoiler free, as much as I can. And then at the end of the week, I'll do a top 10 with my buddy Rockin' Robbie Billups, and we'll do our top 10 favorite comics of the week with spoilers. So check me out at Gem and Collectibles.
There you go, guys. And like I said, Sal and I do a lot of shows together. We have an entire brand known as the Absolutely brand at this point because we run multiple shows. You can find us here on twitch.tv/comicstorian every Tuesday at about 5 p.m. Eastern. But you can also go to Absolutely Marvel and DC. Sal and I talk about all the movie shows and all the other stuff going on in the world of superheroes in a podcast format on a nearly daily basis. Right now, we have a 30-minute discussion over there about our opinions on the lawsuit thing. Which I love today. Everything we talked about today pretty much was a different direction. We totally talked about different stuff.
They're two totally fresh conversations.
I saw that on there. I was a little worried that when we got to that topic, I'm like, wow, we still have a lot of time to fill. And Sal and I already talked about this one.
Right.
So I don't know where that's going to go.
No, it's true. And Benny, why don't you tell them about next week?
There's no show. Oh, New York Comic Con. Sal and I are going to be at New York Comic Con Friday night. For those who are panicking that we're going to New York, we are going to be playing it super safe. The current rule is to mask up everywhere we go. We're only going to be on the floor on Thursday is my plan. I don't know about Sal's plan.
Yep.
But me and my crew will be on the floor Thursday only. The panel will be Friday night. If you see us and want to get photos, just stop me and hit me up. I will not get close, but we can get awkwardly socially distant photos. So normally I'm the kind of guy, you want a hug, you want a handshake, I'll do the whole thing. But we're in weird times right now. This is the first time I'm going out since COVID started. Like I haven't even left this basement. Like I have nothing here anymore. I'm just in this room. But yeah, so we'll be at New York Comic Con next week. Would love to see you guys there if you happen to be in the area. It'd be great. And that's pretty much it. Thanks for the reminder on that one, Sal.
No problem.
All right, guys. Well, that's the end of today's show. I hope you enjoyed it. Please join us next week. Guaranteed to be at Twitch, but maybe we'll try this cross-blasting thing again. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you next time right here.